What up, Clipper Nation? Clippers taking on the Jazz. Pregame show starting in about 4 minutes here. Hello, guys. So what's the deal? Why did the Lakers trade go through? What did Charlotte do? I want answers. What up, Jose? Who decided to show up? Carlos here. Did you get any more questions than I did?
Yeah.
Is the Luka trade getting rescinded? All right, guys, we're about to start.
Luca.
Luka. Someone's saying Mark didn't pass the physical, but I haven't seen that yet. I mean, that was my first guess, but welcome into Clippers Countdown. It's your 28 and 23. LA Clippers are hosting the 12 and 38 Utah Jazz in Game 3 of this 4-game homestand, as the Clippers have lost 3 games in a row after giving up 22 points, a 22-point lead on Thursday to the Indiana Pacers, where they would fall 119 to 112, and now take on a Jazz team on a back-to-back, missing most of their key players. So how can the Clippers stay locked in and focused and getting back to playing Clippers basketball? Well, none of that should have anything to do with their effort, their defensive principles, their makeup, and their DNA. This is a defensive team that has to impose their will for 48 minutes on that end, and that means creating turnovers that can fuel their offense, because as of the last 7 games for the Clippers, they're forcing 3 less turnovers per game during that time, while having the 19th best defensive rating in the league. This team has been unrecognizable on that end, and it feels like they're at a bit of a crossroads, where Coach Lue already called them out once after the Lakers lost this past week, telling them you got to look yourselves in the mirror and decide what type of squad you want to be. Do you want to win or not? Because winning is about doing the hard stuff, the tough stuff. Sometimes it's hard to get up for a ball game against a team that has won just 12 times this season. But the Clippers have to build better habits internally, and that shouldn't have anything to do with the Utah Jazz. Will the real Clippers step up tonight here at Intuit Dome? Tip-off between the Clippers and Jazz is just about 61 minutes away. Coming up here in your pregame show, you're going to hear from La Murray of The Athletic. We'll also have your head coach on, Interon Liu. But up next, it's your radio voice of the Clippers and Carlo Jimenez. I'm Adam Osland, and you're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Come on, Dan. Give me that music earlier. I see you with the Jazz. Oh, he didn't pass the physical. I knew it. Jake, did I not say it?
You said it.
I said it right away.
I agreed with you, too, because his back is messed
You
up.
agreed, but I said it first.
Man, I'm giving you credit anyway. Calm down.
Wait, the physical was not failed due to his back? Mark Williams' physical with the Lakers showed multiple issues, and the team failed him on the exam.
How?
So it wasn't the back, but I guess other stuff.
That's even worse.
Yeah.
That's even worse. I can accept
Wow.
his back.
Wow.
That's not good, bro.
Lakers fans were freaking out, too.
Yeah. Yep.
I was pointing out, like, he has some bad rim protection numbers, but,
Well, Lakers don't have to worry about it now.
I mean, it hurts them this year, but now they get back their first-round pick. They get back
Yeah.
Dalton Connect.
And Cam Reddish. Yeah.
Wow. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Clippers taking on the Utah Jazz here at Intuit Dome. Tip-off 58 minutes away. Welcome back in. I'm Adam Osland. Coming up, you're going to hear from the head coach, Interon Liu. We'll also go back in time in Clippers Rewind. Plus, we'll have La Murray on from The Athletic. But first of all, Clipper Nation, this team has lost 3 straight games in a row, and they just have not been playing a Clippers brand of basketball. And now they're letting the opposition come back on them. Typically, that's what the Clippers do. Hashtag comeback Clips. But now joining the show is your radio voice of the Clippers and Carlo Jimenez. Carlo, I was just talking about it, but
Hashtag.
a 22-point comeback on the Clippers. We're used to that going the other way in their favor.
Yeah, that is not very comeback clips of the comeback clips to allow a comeback against you. They did come back from on the wrong side of that comeback because when they were up 22 and then the other team came back, they went up 13. So the Clippers were able to come back after, you know what I mean? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was a back and forth contest, but with some wild swings.
There was a comeback in that. for the
There
Clippers.
was a comeback that came up short in some ways.
Well, they got the lead.
And then?
And yeah.
So the Pacers, they were the final team to come back and eventually would win 119-112 here Thursday night at Intuit Dome. But, you know, we've been talking a lot about some of the issues going on with this Clippers team because this has been a pattern, a trend, a negative one. Last 7 games, they're almost a bottom 10 defense. We're not used to seeing that, and they're just not creating the same amount of turnovers that they typically do. And we know how important that is for their offense.
100%, Adam. I mean, this is a team that earlier this year only the Oklahoma City Thunder have more points off turnovers than the LA Clippers. Now, a good sign for the Clippers tonight is, Adam, no team in the NBA allows more points off turnovers than the Utah Jazz. So if there's a game to get back into rhythm on that end, I think the Clippers have an opportunity here today. But this is a team that I think Ty Lue mentioned it earlier, but the ability, Adam, they need turnovers to win games. They need to score points off turnovers. They need easy buckets. They need runouts. That's why Amir Coffey has been so good this year. He pushes the pace. He gets them running in transition. He gets to the rim. He's top 5 in the NBA in points per possession in the fast break. And so is Norman Powell for this Clipper team. Those guys have been so effective in that area. So it'd be interesting to see where the Clippers go from here. Obviously, so many new faces around this organization. You pretty much get to create your own identity at this point. But the last game against Indiana, the big thing that stands out, those 8 Indiana turnovers after they played the Blazers 2 days prior and had 19 turnovers. And so when you look at that stark difference, it's like the Clippers should be the team forcing 19, not the Portland Trailblazers.
We heard from Coach Lue pregame, and I believe Law Murray was asking him about how do you want to play when other teams go small against you.
Yeah.
And one of the things he said right away, I believe, was get it to Big Zoo. Get it to Ivica Zubac. Well, against the Raptors, he only gets 11 takes while playing 40 minutes. He played 35 on Thursday, only gets up 11 shots, was 8 of 11, was highly efficient out there, but just seems like, the coaching staff obviously is preaching get it to Big Zoo a little bit more. This team has not received the message yet. Hopefully that does happen and materialize as we move along here in the season, because many teams might try going small against them.
Yeah, the Clippers, it really feels like when other teams go small, they have a tough time keeping up with the pace of their opponents. I also thought it was interesting, Adam, being brought up that Ivica Zubac is getting double teamed in certain ways, and Ty Lue didn't want to reveal what those ways were, but he is not as effective coming off a double team. Still feels like those 17 shots, that number should be somewhere towards 16 or 17 and not 11 for Ivica Zubac like he had the last 2 games, especially with Miles Turner not playing. I mean, he played the first 6 minutes and then goes out with a scary head injury. It's not good. And as you've talked about, you got to feed the dog. I mean, you have to, especially the guys anchoring your defense. A guy who we've seen at him when he's not playing, the Clippers defense is completely different. I mean, completely changed. This is somebody who's a top rim protector in the NBA because of his effort, because of his rebounding ability as well. I mean, top 5 in the NBA in rebounds. He does it all for the Clippers defensively. They have to reward him on the offensive end.
If you want the dog to protect the house, you got to feed him. Now, this Clippers team had 19 turnovers, leading to 32 points against the Indiana Pacers, and they came in bunches, 6 straight at one point in that second quarter. And we've noticed this over this past season. They have struggled in that area, not just the overall turnover numbers, where I believe they're bottom 3 in the league per game, but they have had situations where they've given the ball up dramatically. We've had a 12 turnover fourth quarter in the game they won against the Golden State Warriors about a month and a half ago. This is a little bit worrisome now. They have brought in Bogdan Bogdanović. Reports are Ben Simmons is going to sign with the Clippers.
That's interesting.
It does feel like they're trying to address this issue at least, Carlo.
And when you think about the guys that are coming in, I mean, you think about guys who can play make, right? And for this Clipper team, and I think that's what was talked about somebody like Bogey Bogdanović and his ability to be a playmaker for this Clipper team and to be aggressive on the offensive end. And Ty Lue mentioned in his pregame press conference, somebody like a Kyle Korver who he had in his time in Cleveland, somebody like a Ray Allen. You can run pin downs for him. He's a smart basketball mind. He likes to share the basketball. I think a lot of guys who begin their career in Europe, Adam, they're much more willing passers than maybe people who are brought up in the AAU system where it's hero ball till I die and let's see how many points I can score by myself.
Whoa!
I mean, I just think that's a shared sentiment across the NBA.
No, you're not lying.
I mean, go play pickup. I played pickup yesterday, and there was no assisting out there.
I heard it was all ISO.
All ISO.
All ISO.
I just got the ball and I said, "Hey, get out the way. Get out the way."
Clear out.
No, but I'm excited. And what I think this adds for the Clippers is a running mate in that lineup that they have with Norm and Kawhi to start the second quarters. Now you add Bogdan. I gotta get this right. Bogey, or Bogdanović. You add another offensive threat like Norman Powell, who can be just as aggressive. So excited to see Bogdan have a big performance for the Clippers.
Obviously not playing for tonight for this Clippers team, but they got the rest of the guys ready to go. They're taking on a Utah Jazz team that is struggling and is going to be severely shorthanded tonight. More on that coming up. Carlo Jimenez is on the call. Tip-off is just 51 minutes away here at Intuit Dome. Clippers and Jazz, and up next, Carlo has his one-on-one conversation with the head coach and Teron Lue right here on the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Now, guys, I talked to Coach Lue a little bit earlier, too. Now, it wasn't a one-on-one setting, but I did ask him about Kawhi Leonard, his cardio, how he has looked. Is he progressing at the rate you're looking for? He thought he looked gassed the end of last game, which makes sense because he played almost 34 minutes, most he's played in this season. And then also, they were playing against a high-tempo team in the Indiana Pacers. But he played, Kawhi ended up playing 10 minutes straight.
Yeah.
Because he played to like the 147 mark or something of the fourth. So, I mean,
Yeah.
that was a significant change. So you see that turnover like he had against Siakam. It was bad, but he looked completely gassed.
Yeah.
Give it time.
Nope.
Unless you're Carlo. Microwave Nation. Patty better be in the rotation today.
I don't think he's in the rotation, but I like him. I feel bad for KJ Martin, man.
Why?
Oh, he's a Clipper. He gets in the James Harden trade. Not really his fault.
Yeah.
You know, goes to Philly. They got to cut costs.
Hey, he can do better.
He goes to Detroit. They immediately trade him to Utah.
They might use him, though.
No, I mean, I hope for his success. I mean, ever since since he left Houston, he really hasn't had a chance to play like basketball.
So he's available tonight, right?
No. He's out.
But this would be such a good game to be available.
It would be. But he's out.
Clippers and Jazz here at Intuit Dome. Tip-off just about 49 minutes away. Welcome back in. This is the official pregame show of your Los Angeles Clippers. I'm Adam Osland, and this is Clippers Countdown. Coming up, we'll go back in time in Clippers Rewind. But first, let's head back over to your radio voice of the Clippers in Carlo Jimenez. There was Carlo Jimenez pregame with Coach Lue. Tip-off here between the Clippers and the Utah Jazz, just about 47 minutes away. I'm Adam Osland live from Intuit Dome. Dome is home. Coming up next, we'll go back in time and Clippers Rewind right here on the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. How did I not think of that?
That is funny. There was not much to ask head coach Teron Lue today.
We're live, Carl.
I mean, I love the dude, but I just don't know. There's not much to ask him. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And I don't want to force questions.
You got my conditioning sloppy second question in though.
I did, yeah, I did. Well, also 3 of my questions got taken away.
Did you see Bogey was? Excuse me. Did you see Bogey was warming up earlier?
Yeah.
I took some video of it.
Bogdan.
Dude, I'm like a big fan. Like a big fan.
Bogdan.
Dude, he almost knocked out Team USA.
Oh yeah.
The
no.
reason they got up almost 20 was him. He was destroying them.
If he can get back to himself,
I think he will. Honestly, like I'm not even worried about it.
well, that's a little optimistic.
I am not. I know. I know. Well, you know me.
This guy's being optimistic over here.
I've been optimistic.
What's in the water?
I'm
today?
optimistic about Ben Simmons.
He's got a Yeah, can you believe that?
That
Sometimes we have games and Adam likes to play down things.
Yeah.
The Clippers signed Ben Simmons, and you're loving it.
you thought it was Magic Johnson that came back to play again.
Listen, I love Ben Simmons. I think he'll do great things for this team. Cautious optimism, Adam. Cautious optimism.
I throw caution to the effing wind, and I dive head first into the breeze
this guy's off
of
diet.
positivity.
This guy's off Diet Coke for a couple days, and look at him now.
Look at him, man.
It's crazy.
Wish I could say the same for Jake.
Hey, I had one setback, fool, but I'm back.
Somebody in here said Jake's my guy already. That was annoying.
Who? I want to shout them out.
Who said that? Oscar again. Oscar
Hey,
Burrows.
shout
My
out
man,
Oscar.
big bro.
That's my dog. He's a P1. He's a P1.
Oh. Clippers taking on the Utah Jazz here at Intuit Dome. Welcome back in. I'm Adam Moslin. This is Clippers Countdown. Tip-off is just 44 minutes away. Still to come here on the official pregame show of your Los Angeles Clippers. We will get to your player to watch. La Murray of The Athletic will also join me here, and your injury report, of course. But first, we got to go back in time. In Clippers Rewinds here, we're taking things back a little bit. All the way back to April 8th of 2016. The first Deadpool movie was out. There have been 2 since. And the third one, it's almost too funny for its own good, I got to say. Like, you miss out on jokes because they're just happening rapid fire for you. But it's good. And Ryan Reynolds did his thing, and my guy Hugh Jackman did his as well. On the radio then was Panda by Designer. It was tough to understand, but it was a banger, and I'm still into it. And the Clippers were in a close game late in Utah. Jay crossover with the game winner there to lift the Clippers over the Jazz by 3. Final score 102-99. Jamal Crawford finished with 30 points along with that game winner. Of course, a great Clipper, 2-time Sixth Man of the Year winner with the Clips. Averaged 15 a game in 5 seasons with the squad. Clippers taking on the Jazz tonight here at Intuit Dome. Tip-off 42 minutes away. Still to come, your player to watch in La Murray of The Athletic will be here. I'm Adam Osland, and you're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. I agree. Hugh Jackman probably is the hottest 56-year-old. I got to get it together with my conditioning.
You know.
No, say it, Carla. No, no one's going to hear.
It's all good. You see Beauchamp's out there? He's Clipper bench, but in the regular seat.
Where?
He's sitting next to a guy in a
Oh,
white.
I see him.
That's who we traded for KPJ. Marjan Beauchamp.
I'm aware. I'm a fan.
Marjan Beauchamp.
He's got a great name.
It'll be interesting to see what they do.
Who?
What the Clippers do.
I think we know what they're going to do.
No, but What are you going to do with Jordan Miller?
Well, apparently he still has 2 days left, unlike what I was told about a week ago.
About a week ago. Oh, heads up.
All right, guys, I got to confess something. I think I only went 7.5, 8 miles today because I had to get back home and then get here. So I didn't run as far as I thought I was going to.
Yeah, that's it.
Mistakes were made.
Once you get those miles in, you can hop back on, right?
Hop back on? The juice? Hey, I ran like 6 2 days ago. I ran 7.5 or 8 miles today. That's pretty good.
On a treadmill?
Yeah, the treadmill. Big Bro told me my marathon is more impressive.
Your marathon.
Well, I don't give a damn about some 8-mile run. I did a freaking marathon on a treadmill. Anybody else?
Nobody else.
I got a medal for that.
Never lost.
Yeah, that's impressive.
And Carla wants to downplay it.
I just said it was impressive. Literally, like, right before you said.
Did you guys hear Welcome back in. I'm Adam Oslin. This is Clippers Countdown as we're just 40 minutes away from tip-off here at Intuit Dome. Coming up, we got La Murray on from The Athletic and your injury report. And Carlo Jimenez will be back. Who? Carlo. But first. I got a guy nobody's thought about. This is easily going to be the winning pick tonight. Little player I like to call Drew Eubanks. Why? Because he's a former member of the Utah Jazz and the Clippers just picked him up. How about them apples? It is on. Drew Eubanks' revenge game is happening tonight here at Intuit Dome. Believe that. His scoring high on the season is 17 points. He may eclipse that tonight in a Clippers jersey against his former employer. His season high in rebounds on the season is 11. I'm talking about 18 and 12 tonight from Drew Eubanks, my player to watch. You heard it here first. Tip-off is 39 minutes away, and I can't wait. I'm Adam Oslin live from Intuit Dome. Up next, your injury report, then La Murray of The Athletic. You're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Daniel's a big Jazz fan. Hey, you guys laugh all you want. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Drew Eubanks? Yes, sir.
No, these guys were hating on my pick.
That
They
just-
were hating on my pick.
That just means I get big Zoo today.
Excuse me?
I get Big Zoo because you let him go. And you can't reclaim him.
You
either.
can get Big Zoo all you want.
Yep, he's going to get 20 and 20 today. Watch.
He can play long enough for that.
What do you mean by that?
He's saying it's over.
I'm saying if the Clippers play the right way, Ivica Zubac shouldn't be playing 30 minutes tonight.
I would love to be wrong.
Yeah, right.
I would.
Left.
Well, you're in luck.
It's a very rare form, for me to be wrong. So, just
Should have
saying.
heard Jake before the Lakers game.
What'd I say?
Don't get me started.
No, say it. Put it out there. I don't care because I don't remember.
Uh,
Don't tell lies, though.
Who's 66?
no one's lying.
That's probably a custom jersey.
Turn around.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Daniel.
I don't know if he knows how to do those.
I'm sorry, I'm laughing about something else. I just saw this injury report.
Yeah, I told you it's hilarious.
Oh my.
Oh, he's
God.
available. Cody Williams.
Oh
All right.
my God.
70 points a game.
Oh my God.
Well, and that's not including KJ Martin because he hasn't played yet.
This is incredible, guys.
So
I know they played last.
Utah is averaging tonight. They have 40 points per game playing.
The guys that are available average 40 points together.
Combined.
Oh my God.
Well, that's just like if you subtract what they average on the season by 70, which is the four guys who are missing.
This is something. Clippers taking on the Utah Jazz here at Intuit Dome. Tip-off is just about 36 minutes away. I'm Adam Osland. This is Clippers Countdown, the official pregame show of your Los Angeles Clippers. Still to come here, we will get back to Carlo Jimenez and La Murray will join me. But first, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification here on the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Let's get to your injury report brought to you by Prize Picks. Download the app today and use code KLAC to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks run your game. For the Clippers, still no Bogdan Bogdanovic, who is reconditioning. He hasn't played in a couple of weeks, guys. He was out for personal reasons with the Atlanta Hawks and will not be available against the Utah Jazz tonight. Hopefully available next week against the Memphis Grizzlies. I would plan on that. As for the Utah Jazz, they are without John Collins for rest purposes. Taylor Hendricks, he's got a right fibula leg injury. Walker Kessler, out, left shoulder contusion. Markkanen, out, lower back. KJ Martin, who they just brought in, he's also reconditioning. Josh Richardson's not with the team. Colin Sexton is out with the left ankle injury. Cody Williams is available, playing through a left ankle injury. Clippers taking on the Jazz. Tip-off just 35 minutes away. And up next, we got La Murray from The Athletic. I'm Adam Osland, and you're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network.
Single game tickets are on sale with select games starting as low as $29. Head to Clippers.com/tickets to grab your seats. Come on back to cheer on the Clips. Act fast before these tickets are.
That was a lengthy injury report. That was something else. I don't know how I feel about that one. John Collins out for rest. Capture the flag. I feel like the Lakers losing out on Mark Williams with now the trade deadline passing. That puts them in a tough spot. That may inhibit them from being a contender this year. We'll see who they pick up. But, I mean, I just saw Bismack Biyombo get picked up, so who are they going to get? Dwight Howard for the fourth time? How much hair product does Adam average per game? What? It's
too much.
It's Jake's guy Oscar asking this, of course.
Oscar can think for himself. I don't need to, because I'll ask straight up. Come on. You know I'm not scared.
Ask me, see what happens.
How much hair product do you average per game, Adam?
How much?
I don't know. How many fouls did you average per game?
Whoa.
I'll say this much. It takes me at least 4 Clorox wipes to clean his headsets after every game.
Is that true? Actually, yeah, Jake would know.
Actually, just one.
But you've never cleaned them. Guys, can the great La Murray, you know what?
Yeah.
I'll
No, it's okay.
No, I'll stand.
It's okay.
Oh, it's up to you.
Nation Rewards is live and fans are already scoring once-in-a-lifetime experiences. Don't miss out on the fun. Find it under the My Profile section of the app and start completing missions and earning points too.
Tizo, what's Clippers taking on the Utah Jazz here at Intuit Dome. Tip-off just 32 minutes away. I'm Adam Osland. Welcome back in. This is Clippers Countdown, still to come. We'll get to an NBA out-of-town scoreboard, but joining the show right now is La Murray of The Athletic. Follow him at La Murray, VNU. And if you're watching us at Clippers Talk on the YouTube side, you're seeing that Law is styling as always. Law, good to see you. How we doing?
I just did cardio getting up here. So.
Well, you've done this before. You went the wall, all 51 rows, before we even played a game.
Yeah, I use this arena as my personal jungle gym.
That's fair. Big brother Jake Warner's always complaining about how high up he's got to walk all the time. Like it happens. Like but this is like it doubles as a little bit of cardio today. I already got mine in, but still I'll take a little bit more on the stair climber. All right, let's talk about this Clippers ball club and let's talk about what Coach Lou was mentioning pregame about Bogdanovich. I know he's not playing tonight. I know a lot of guys aren't playing for the Jazz. I know he's not playing for the Clippers tonight, but you made some interesting comments about how he will be used. And I agree with you, by the way. As soon as I was doing the live stream, when they traded for him, I said, what does this mean for KPJ? 10 minutes later, we found out that he was being moved as well. Bo Champ is with the Clippers, KPJ in Milwaukee. So how will Bogey be used as a Clipper?
Yeah, I'm excited to see him have the ball in his hands a lot more with the Clippers than he had with the Hawks. I think that's something that we talked about Thursday night. But like to hear Tyronn Lue actually say it is pretty cool. Like the little joke about JJ Redick, but that's going to be interesting to actually call him a classic movement shooter because Norm does a lot of that stuff, but Norm is a guy who he likes to get to his handoff and he likes to get downhill and Bogey is like a really versatile on-ball guy who's comfortable doing a lot of different things. One of my favorite things that Bogdanovich does is he'll set a pick. He will set a pick, that small pick and roll, and he'll slip. He'll slip, and it's not a slip like a big slips. You know what I'm saying? Like a fake screen
Right.
and go straight roll to the like this dude will slip to the wing for a three. Like that's where he's going to be, and that's what I think is going to excite T. Lue more than say have some zoom action or just some pin downs or some flares and stuff to get Bogey some threes that way. It's like involve him in the action with the ball, with ball screens, and then obviously. I don't think he's a great passer or anything like that, but he's going to have the basketball in lineups where he can make decisions. And I think he's a decent decision maker, if not necessarily a gifted passer or anything like that. So he gives Tyronn Lue less of a point guard than Kevin Porter Jr. was, but more of a guy who you're not as mad if he's shooting the basketball. Even with his percentages being as poor as they've been this season. I think Lawrence Frank also alluded to that. We can acknowledge it for what it is. Bogey has had a difficult year on and off the floor, and the hope is that getting him here where he is needed a whole lot more than he seemed to be in Atlanta should rejuvenate Bogey, and hopefully you can see some regression to the means as far as where his numbers have been.
So he's in-house. It's official. He's not playing tonight because he's reconditioning. But a guy you reported about that the Clippers could be interested in, and it sounds like he has chose them in Ben Simmons, could be here on Monday or could be signed as of Monday. What's the plan for Ben Simmons as a Clipper?
My plan, because no one's going to talk about it right now, but my plan is we went through the roster and when I was saying things like, oh, Bogey's going to be the new KPJ and stuff like that, a guy who, as soon as the deadline passed and I saw who they didn't sign or didn't acquire, and I was like, okay, look, I don't think Malcolm Brogdon fits anymore, I thought that if you're going to use Terrence Mann's contract to move somebody, it would be for a big. They didn't identify a big, and I knew it was going to be hard. You've seen the names pop up on your screen over the last 2-3 months.
I know Bismack got signed today, but there's not slim pickings.
You don't need a player like that. I always thought they needed a guy who had some skill and some versatility while also masquerading as a big. And that guy, as soon as the deadline ended, I did my due diligence. I called around and I was like, well, I see a guy who could absolutely fit. Now that the deadline's over, you can't acquire a guy who's needed to be traded. You need to now look at who could be bought out. And Ben was the most obvious guy for me. And I've been looking. Look, I'm from Philly, man. My group text will always let me know where I'm from. Okay, you know who's playing tomorrow. I have a real in on like anyone who plays on that team. Obviously, over the years, he's a number one pick. He's a guy that's been discussed for years. He's not who he used to be. But even when we had the preseason game down at Oceanside, I made sure to talk to Ben one on one. I made sure to, because he played in that game. That was the first time he had played basketball since I want to say February of last year. Okay, I thought that was a big moment, and I was like, something's got to give. He's in a contract year. He's making a lot. The team ain't going nowhere. At the very least, I want to check in with him. And now you see a scenario where he comes here, and not only does he come here as a potential point center, but specifically as a guy who might be replacing Terrence Mann, who was beloved here, even while he navigated a number of different roles and a number of different lineups and a number of different responsibilities.
What do you think of him in this locker room setting? Because a lot of people have made, I think it's just a little bit overly
Your mentions are
overblown.
toxic, bro.
Or it's been a little bit exaggerated to me, because when I look at the places he's been, okay, did him leaving cure Philadelphia's locker room? No. The situation in Brooklyn, they went all in and then they went all out. It's difficult to say how much of this is on Ben Simmons and how much of this is just places he's been that happen to have bad locker rooms. How do you think he's going to fit in with this Clippers team?
I think a lot of that stuff is overblown, just period. Like, people just like talking just to talk. You know what I'm saying? So with a guy like Ben, who doesn't always help himself out because of where he's been and how, some things have gone. Like, but he's different. He's a different person now. His perspective on things different. He's had basketball taken away from him multiple times. This is another time where it's like, no matter what, even though it's his choice and he's highly coveted, he's still having to adjust in the middle of the season to changing teams and playing. He's changed teams before in the middle of the season, but he didn't play that year that the Philadelphia 76ers, his first team, traded him to Brooklyn. Nothing was ever the same again in Brooklyn after that. And so, like, the Clippers literally just traded multiple dudes who didn't want to be here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think a big part of being a player on this team is, do you want to be here? Do you have a role, and are you going to do everything that you can to fulfill that role, at least for the obligations of your contract being here, whether that's for the rest of the year or whether you think you have a future beyond this year with the team. So, I don't even address that stuff. Again, your Twitter way more toxic than mine, so I haven't really seen any of that stuff. But I'll let y'all know. Don't bring me to any of that stuff. Like, he's not even here yet. But like, when he gets here, if he gets here, when he gets here, I don't think that's something like they've got. This locker room is in a much different place than it was anyway. Even if it was the old locker room, it wouldn't be an issue. This is a locker room that this team was put together specifically to make sure that the issues from last year wasn't going to come up again.
A welcoming group. And yes, it's not official. It's only reported that Ben Simmons is going to sign with the
on that
Clippers.
report, though. I'll let you know that.
And La Murray is on it. And if something was nixed, as we
some
saw.
stuff I don't like talking about. I'll talk about this one.
All right, let's talk about this Clippers team and just where they've been defensively, because I went in my intro talking about how last 7 games, they're 19th defensively. They're still a top defense in the league on the season, so it tells you how good they have been when they're locked in.
It also tells you how bad some of these other teams have been, too.
That's fair.
Being real.
Speaking of, they're taking on the Utah Jazz tonight, who are very much struggling and not playing many guys. How does this team, do you think some of this is a focus issue with them and what has happened the last week?
I mean, yeah, I hate making excuses for the LA Clippers, okay? So
hey, they should be focused. That ain't no excuse.
There are reasons. You can say a lot of things, like I've had guys come up to me and mention that things aren't the same after the All-Star selections were made and stuff like that. Like, the deadline is the deadline. I've seen this team multiple years play weird basketball to begin February. This year, last year, even the year where they played pretty damn well and survived January, February 2022, things got very strange, I think that this team is just trying to survive to the break. And honestly, when they come out the break, I look at 7 straight road games, or at the very least 7 games not at Intuit Dome. Well, this team is going to have to lock in and focus at some point. The Jazz are a get-right situation. The Jazz are a great matchup for the Clippers because they're big. They kind of stay big no matter who's playing. And in general, they're the worst team I've ever seen in the terms of the turnover department. And that's where the Clippers are. That's their biggest, hit or miss thing. Like the Jazz are dead last in turnovers and dead last in forcing turnovers. That's why you've seen the Jazz come here 2 times previously and get absolutely wiped off the court within minutes of the game starting. It's going to probably be the same thing tonight. The difference is the Clippers need to play that way the whole way through and then carry that into these 3 days where they get to practice, watch the Super Bowl, integrate new players. You got to survive against the Grizzlies because the Jazz are going to play a lot better at home next week, and they're probably going to play more guys then than they play tonight, right? And they're going to probably try and be like, we got to beat the Clippers at least one time, you know? So what you see tonight is like an opportunity for the Clippers to reestablish themselves. That reestablishment can't just be what happens tonight or next week. It needs to be the start of an attitude adjustment that carries on through the rest of the winter.
Do you think the Clippers' flaw of turning the basketball over and in horrific bunches at times, and you posted the video the Jazz posted, is just elementary
The
turnovers?
Pacers posted that one.
The Pacers, excuse me.
Yeah.
That was on Thursday in that 119-112 loss, but they had 6 straight turnovers at one point, and there was a 19-point turnaround in less than 3 minutes in that ball game. Do you think those issues are remedied by some of the guys that either are here or are likely to be here very soon?
I don't think you can rely on new guys to change that. It's got to be the guys that you're relying on every single night, the whole season.
Can they fix it with those guys internally?
They should be able to. Do I want to put anything on it? Absolutely not. We're in February, you know, like these are your best players, your veterans, your all-star, your legend who just came back. Like those are the players turning the ball over. Kawhi had 5 turnovers. He had one game all last year with 5 turnovers or more. You know, James is averaging a turnover a quarter, you know, on average. The last time he played the Jazz, I don't think he had a single turnover and he had 11 assists. It's those players locking in. I talked to guys in the locker room before the game today, and we talked about how that film session must have been and looking back at these, they're not hard turnovers. We're talking about entry passes, getting the ball over half court, bringing the ball inbounds, running pick and rolls. None of those turnovers at the end of the second quarter Thursday night were in the paint or, you know, just hard stuff. It's basic stuff that if, you know, you were coaching an elementary school co-ed team, you'd be like, this is what you need to do. You know what I'm saying? So I think that I'm not looking at Ben Simmons and Bogdan Bogdanovic and Marjan Beauchamp to help this team clean up their turnovers. This has been a persistent issue since the sun went down at 7 o'clock at night, you know, so they got to fix it. Your best players got to fix it. The guys who are playing the most have to fix it. And that's going to be that. Like, if they can either lock down and focus and determine that they're going to come out and start games one way and stay focused through 4 quarters, or we'll be talking in April about how this team is at the bottom 3 of turnovers in the league.
He is Lob Murray of The Athletic. Follow him at Lob Murray DNU, but don't make his line toxic like it is with mine right now. Lob, appreciate you coming on pregame.
Thank you. Enjoy the games, everybody.
Coming up next is we're just 18 minutes away from tip-off. Clippers taking on the Utah Jazz here at Intuit Dome. I'm Adam Oslin, and we'll get to your NBA out-of-town scoreboard. That's coming up right here on the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Clippers coming out to the court, guys. Again, Law Murray's been all over the Ben Simmons story, so follow him at Law Murray BNU. Bogey on defense tries, and he's big for his position. And he's not a complete save or liability there. He's not great. He might be slightly below average or right around average. Like, you deal with it. It's fine.
Are you talking about Bogdanovic?
Yeah, Bogey.
Who?
Bogdanovic.
Let's go, Adam.
Where?
LA Clippers.
Clippers and Jazz tipping off 16 minutes away here at Intuit Dome. I'm Adam Oslin. Coming up, you will hear from Carlo Jimenez. But first, your drive around the league is brought to you by Toyota's electrified lineup, including hybrids, plug-in hybrids, all electrics, and even fuel cell electric vehicles. So you can choose exactly the type you need for your lifestyle. We make it easy. Earlier, Atlanta would win in DC 125 to 111. Trae Young, Trey with 35 and 14 assists in the win. The Magic would win late over the Spurs 112 to 111. Franz Wagner with 33 and 12. Spurs taking back-to-back brutal losses at the very end of the ball game. The Dallas Mavericks would win 116 to 105. Anthony Davis had 26, 16, and 7 assists in their victory over the Rockets. And right now, third quarter just getting underway in Phoenix. Nuggets leading the Suns 63 to 55. Nikola Jokic with 17, 7, and 7 assists early, about 17 seconds into that third quarter. Clippers taking on the Utah Jazz. Tip off 15 minutes away. Coming up next, back to your radio voice of the Clippers and Carlo Jimenez. I'm Adam Oslin, and you're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network.
Time to get lucky.
Adam thinks he's slick talking about me complaining about going up the stairs here.
When was that?
I heard that.
When was that?
Right before Law Murray.
That's
fool.
not nice.
It's all right. I got something for you.
Another water?
That's not nice.
That was funny. We'll see. My revenge doesn't happen instantly.
Y'all just hating.
Oh, no, not at all. Believe me.
You saw Kawhi run out.
Yeah, I did.
I hope you have some answers for the Utah Jazz here, Carlo.
Huh?
Hope you have some answers for the Utah Jazz here.
Some answers?
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually do have one answer. I have one that I'm fun. I'm ready to rip.
Okay.
Because I do always think when I prep, Adam's gonna ask me.
That's weird because every time I'm like, "Who's your player to watch?" You go, "Hey, that's a good question, Adam. Let me see here."
I don't think about that one. I don't. I don't.
You better think real hard tonight. I got a good one.
That one I just rip off the dome.
Doesn't always work out.
But does that segment need to be faster?
Faster?
I don't know. I feel like it's kind of fun to riff raff about
Oh yeah. Do whatever you want.
whatever I want.
Okay, easy. Oscar is asking, is Carlo playing? LOL.
There's an open roster spot. What do you mean? I am playing. See you guys.
Rip away suit.
Let me tell you, you never see somebody attack an offensive glass like me. I'm the worst guy to guard and pick up because I crash every time. I'm just out there for the cardio. I get you a 3 like every game, every other game.
Clippers taking on the Jazz here at Intuit Dome. Tip-off 12 minutes away. I'm Adam Osland. This is Clippers Countdown, the official pregame show of your LA Clippers. Still to come, we'll get to your keys to victory, but first, back over to your radio voice of the Clippers in Carlo Jimenez. So, Carl, the Jazz played last night. They are resting a few guys tonight. Some are dinged up. I should say John Collins is resting tonight in this
Yes.
game, but others are injured. Who's available? Who do the Clippers have to be aware of out there to slow down?
Well, the Clipper killer, Jordan Clarkson, was resting yesterday, so he could
Ooh.
play today. So
Ooh.
maybe not a good sign for the Clippers there. Clarkson averages nearly 20 points in Utah wins against the Clippers. And while the Clippers have won 13 of the last 14 against Utah in LA, Clarkson is 9-6 against the Clippers in his last 15 games. So he has played well against this Clipper team. In terms of the team as a whole, Adam, they like to get to the free throw line. The Jazz have the 4th highest free throw rate in the NBA, so a percentage of their possessions that they get to the line. They are not going to attack the paint all that much. They love to grab offensive rebounds, though. They're top 3 in the NBA in offensive rebounding percentage, but they don't get a lot of second chance points. So they get a lot of offensive rebounds, but don't capitalize on them too much. They are the youngest team in the NBA. That's the biggest thing we have to be aware of. This is the youngest team in the NBA in the Utah Jazz and the oldest team in the NBA now after the trade deadline in your LA Clippers.
We heard from L. Frank pregame give his Clippers State of the Union post-trade deadline, as we do every season. What did you make of what he said was the Clippers' goal right now and just balancing things with the present and the future?
It felt like the Clippers are really trying to figure out, like every other team in the NBA, Adam, how do you find the spaces and pockets of advantages in this new CBA? When do you want to be flexible? When do you want to be aggressive? When do you want to figure out times in which you want to get under the salary cap? Because now that affects which players you can sign in the buyout. And Lawrence, and what he felt like echoed to the room was, look, we're trying to stay as competitive as possible while being as flexible as possible. And that's a very hard thing to do in today's NBA. I mean, how many teams do you know, Adam, are just saying, you know what, we're not going to win a championship? Look at Atlanta. They blew it up. Jalen Johnson goes down with a season-ending injury. They sold the farm over there. I don't think a lot of people expected that. This is an organization run by Steve Ballmer, who has done a fantastic job and an investment in this team and has promised Clipper Nation that they are going to be competitive every single year. And I think the Clippers made moves at him that almost were able to feed both sides of that. They stayed flexible. They got draft capital back. They also got more competitive this season. Really, really well done at the deadline. Mark Hughes, Trent Redden, and Lawrence Frank doing a fantastic job of helping all sides. They really got better, I think, around the margins everywhere when it comes to their future and their present.
Yeah, best of both worlds. Speaking of best of, I got a long list of my best of player to watch calls. Tonight, I'm going with Drew Eubanks.
Oh, my God.
Who do you got for your Clippers player to watch tonight here, Carlo?
Yo, Adam, you go former Jazz. I go
Oh,
former Jazz. Give me Chris Dunn as my player to watch tonight.
How many threes?
3 of them.
Wow.
3 threes.
Okay.
I know it hasn't
big
been
call.
his specialty as of late,
He's due.
but he is due. And Chris Dunn is about to welcome this Utah team, not only to the dungeon, Adam, but to his offensive eruption. I am excited to see Dunn on that side of the ball. Should be going tonight. I'm interested. There's Bob Knight once said, Adam,
Uh-oh.
you
Get the
can't-
jump button ready.
you can't, they always know who they're playing, no matter what you say as a head coach. So do the Clippers come out and play to this level of competition that Utah's playing at? Or do you get a 10-point lead and Utah has only come back from one 10-point lead all year this season, and they're 0-30 when entering the fourth quarter with a deficit. So just got to go up 10, and the Clippers should be good.
Clippers taking on the Jazz. Carlo Jimenez on the call. Tip-off 7 minutes away, and up next, we'll get to your keys to victory right here on the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network.
I thought about it that time.
At least Jake didn't get a pick.
He did. He got Zoo.
Oh,
We should have gone James.
I think it got nixed like a certain trade.
Harden's averaging 31 in the 2 games against Utah. I don't know why no one picked him.
Because it's too obvious, bro. It better not be a trap game. They've lost 3 games in a row, guys. They got to show up.
Isn't that crazy? Utah's come back from 1 10-point deficit this year. And almost 2 yesterday. They got so robbed yesterday.
Did they?
They were up by 4 with 6 seconds left. Grayson Allen hit 1 3.
Oh, I did see that.
And then he hit the other 3 with 0.9.
Yeah. Yeah. Grayson Allen.
Dude, but I mean, Phoenix should have lost. The second 3 hit was insane. 0.9 on the clock.
That was the one out of the timeout, right?
Yeah.
That was crazy. Someone wants us to pick Kobe Brown for player to watch.
Look at Derek's about to dunk. Derek's about to dunk.
Uh-oh. He's stretching, guys. DJ, flight 55, airplane mode. James Harden's going to put it off the shot clock for him. Wow. We got a real dunk contest thing going on. Or at least thought about doing it.
No, Zeus told him to go behind the back. Amir wants him to windmill.
Oh! That's actually, I don't know if I've seen exactly that in the dunk contest before. A 360 behind the back.
He almost 360 through the legs last game. I kind of feel bad for him. They all watch over there like, do something.
Ooh.
Okay, Beauchamp.
Wow.
Okay, Beauchamp.
Bo knows.
Yazoo. Oh.
Clippers taking on the Utah Jazz here at Intuit Dome. Welcome back in. I'm Adam Moslin. This is Clippers Countdown. Coming up, we got Carlo Jimenez on the call. But first, let's get to your keys to victory. This Clippers team, Carlos said it earlier, they're taking on a team that turns the ball over and gives up points off of those turnovers in bunches, something the Clippers are in desperate need of right now because over the last 7 games, they're only getting 12 turnovers per game from the opposition. That is unlike this Clippers ball club where on the season, they're still forcing 15 turnovers per night. So a difference of 3 there on average per night, a difference going against the Clippers. They just have not been generating enough turnovers from the opposition. That has to change tonight. A lot of that is, of course, to do to ball pressure, defensive intensity, and getting back to your foundation and how you built this team. They are a defensive squad. We heard from L. Frank pregame. He said he wasn't surprised. He thought they'd be top 5 in defensive rating. They've been even better than that this season, but they got to get back to it because last 7 games, they've been just 19th with their defensive rating. Clippers, Jazz, tip-off 4 minutes away. Carlo Jimenez is on the call here at Intuit Dome, and you're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Guys, talk to you post-game.
Or you could tune in. AM 570.
Well, yeah, tune into AM 570 to hear us. I'm just saying on the YouTube side.
Yeah, I got you.
Okay? Come over to AM 570 LA Sports. We'll be on there. Come find us.
Adam gets way more beautiful.